Okay, we are back. I am Hijack. We have another build here, the Devastating Death Knight build, which does use his final weapon, Winter Sorrow, +4. Okay, and so let's dig into it. Okay, this is a build that took some thinking. Well, not actually, maybe not, but I found this Death Knight character to be difficult to play with, let's say. And in particular, it seemed like the best way to play him, at least early on, was to use poison. And for some reason, that just, I don't know, I didn't feel like this character should be using poison, or at least that wasn't kind of the build that makes the most sense for the Death Knight. Ice, think about it more like I don't know, like a lich or like something. They might use ice, and so that kind of fit. And I was playing around with looking at some of the runes, thinking, what could I do? And I came across this rune that you get from the Ghost Captain if you advance his skill tree far enough. And it gives you Devastating for all of your abilities, but gives you 3 less abilities. And I thought, well, why not, I was like, what character will this work on? I was like, maybe the Death Knight. So I decided to try it out, and boy, it did not disappoint. So this is going to give our abilities the devastating effect, okay? And it means that direct damage caused by skills is multiplied by 3 on critical strike. So this is going to make crits really hurt. And so you do want to pair this with some crit chance, which of course is the rune that I picked over here, increased critical chance by 25%, okay? And then I also kind of wanted to offset the downside of this rune, which is the fact that you get 3 less skills. So I chose this one, which gives me 1 extra skill. And this does decrease our damage by 15%, but considering that we're doing 3 times damage on crits, that 15% is not, a whole lot in comparison, right? And the last one here, this is actually particularly good on the Death Knight, and it does make use of all of our rune points. This increases movement speed by 20%, but reduces pushback resistance by 30%. So the Death Knight, if you don't know, cannot dash. So you need movement speed, right? And this really kind of helps you with that, right? Okay, now, the runes that we're going to be using, Weapon Expert, love this one, gives you the secondary weapon effect. That'll be very helpful. We'll look at that in a second. And then Reroll Mastery, this just helps us make sure that we get the build that we want. The other skill we have is Skill Inclination, and this allows us to it just expedites our ability to get the build we want. So we choose Ice, and it means we're more likely to see Ice skills when we level up. Okay, now, when we look at this weapon, okay, its 2 skills, Frost Strike and Glacial Affinity, do work, they kind of work well together. Frost Strike applies Fragility, which increases all damage enemies receive by 4%. And then Icy Veins triggers, if you get enough stacks of it, it triggers icicles, which do slow enemies and do heavy damage. So that heavy damage, if it crits, right, is going to do a ton, because it's now, it has the, what is it called? The devastating effect, right? Well, Glacial Affinity works really well too, because Glacial Affinity works off of things that slow. So the more slow you have on nearby enemies, you're going to get a damage buff. And you can get, if you look here, right, you can get up to 200% damage buff. Okay, so this is going to be crazy useful, especially because we're going to be using a lot of slow and ice skills. And then Dragonflight leaves behind an area that applies slow. So guess what? That works perfectly with the Glacial Affinity. We're going to be applying a lot of slow, okay? And you'll see that these kind of work very well together with the other ice skills. So let's get into it, okay? As always, we're on what I think is Max Curse. I have everything active, right? And we'll do this on the Scorching Valley. And of course, the main thing we're going to look out for here is ice skills. So that is the main thing we're going to look for. What is this pile? Is that a bug? What is that? Oh, it's his effect. It's his effect. I totally forgot about it. Okay, so this is the Death Knight's skill. So he can collect souls from his enemies, I think, and then he brings them to these mounts and gives him the ability to summon other knights, I believe. Alright, just gonna try and get up to 10 levels here, and then we'll try to get the build that we're looking for. I do really like this weapon in comparison to his other ones. This was definitely by far the one I liked the most. I like that it shoots these like ice shards out. I think that that's pretty cool. And they do significant damage already, so that's good. Go ahead and kill that. See, one-shot that. I think that's one of the knights that we summoned right there. See that? Alright. Cool. Okay, so duration of Glacial Affinity, that is great. Okay, it's going to increase our damage buff duration. See here the ice skills? I think what you want is definitely something that's going to slow. So notice we only have 2 things we can pick from down here. And you're going to want kind of an area of effect slow. And Blizzard, I think, is one of the best ones that can do that. Now, you probably could go with some of the other ones here. But I think we'll go with Blizzard, right? Reroll that. Crit. Great. Touch of Ice is great. This is one you're going to want to look out for, because this means that all of our attacks can apply slow. And again, that has relevance on our damage buff from Glacial Affinity. And then here's another thing. We're going to look for a particular ice skill here. Ice Vortex. Okay, Ice Vortex does damage based on the stacks of slow an enemy has. So we are going to be applying a lot of slow. This is going to do a lot of damage. Look at the base damage on this, right? 1387. And then there's 51 more damage per stack. And it also slows. So it itself slows and then does more damage based upon how many slow stacks an enemy has. So other than that, we kind of want to cast a lot of our skills, right? So it triggers slow faster. We do also want speed and crit chance. We want crit chance pretty badly, actually. So we'll look out for that. Area modifier is also good. Potency of this is good. We'll grab crit chance, even if it's maybe, not as much as we would want. I'm going to reroll this. There we go. Crit chance plus 60%. So this should... We're on the right track here for sure. And we have a lot of speed too already. That's always good. Once we get this wave of bosses out, you can you'll see like how much damage we already do. We summoned a knight there. Awesome. Okay, here's the enemies, right? We need to make sure we trigger slow on these guys as much as possible. Get them built up. Look at that. This guy got slowed and taken down. There we go. And there we go. Alright. Took a while to get my abilities to sit on the enemies there. But once we increase our area of effect, that's not going to be a problem. The abilities will be hitting them. Right? Okay. So I think this is good. If we cast a skill of type Ice, one of our swing abilities can cast instantly, so that's actually quite good for our first ability. The duration of Glacial Affinity is, damage. Increase our damage. I'm going to re-roll that. Potency, that's fine for Glacial Affinity. Potency is also fine. Magnetic. Don't really want to have Doom. There's no need for it. Cast frequency of that. Damage of Blizzard. Potency of that. Area for that. Speed is good. Area of effect, excellent. Multicast is good. Kind of want more crit here. Not really seeing it. Touch of Ice upgrade. Not necessary, really. Area for Ice Vortex, that's good. Don't really want any of those. Crit damage is good. Multicast. Damage. Roll that again. Critical strikes may now apply slow. So that's another avenue for us to get slow. Very good. And we're going to be critting, right? So we want crit chance so that our abilities can apply the devastating effect. Just gathering souls here.
Carve my blade into your sins.
Alright, here we go. That guy's already down. We need to go get our last knight here in a second. Make sure that our effect, our slow effect, is on these guys. There we go. Okay, let's summon our knights here. Oop, passed it. So fast, went right by it. Should have all three of them out now. That's cool. Okay, we've got some levels here, so we'll use those. Alright. Okay, so that's fine. Getting more slow. Multicast. Area modifier. Just more damage. Crit damage. That's pretty good. Area modifier for ice. Multicast for lasting abilities. Multicast for ice vortex. That's great. Multicast. There we go. More crit chance. We really do need that to max this out. Need to be on the lookout for that. I keep on re-rolling here. Okay. This is something else to look out for. Okay. Hypothermia. So this allows us to apply disarray whenever we apply slow. And we apply a lot of slow. What disarray does is it increases all damage received by the enemy by a random amount. Now, you can see that it goes minus 0.5%. That actually makes them harder to kill, but most of this is above that. So, like above 0, which is what you want. So, that's really good. Okay, crit chance, crit chance. Okay, we are looking real good now. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Even in death, you serve my cause. Your Soulstone is
Damage is not bad. This is such a cool character too, right? It definitely gives the feeling that you're, you know, riding like on horseback and you have like a massive like greatsword that you're swinging. It's a very, very cool character. But I will say not having a dash is something you have to get used to. That is for sure. Took me some time to get used to that. Alright, can summon all three of our knights here. There we go.
I'll make this quick. Kneel before the end, or be cut down by it.
There we go. That guy died almost instantly. There we go. I think you can tell when there's a crit with like slow stacks, like a lot of slow stacks on them, and there's a crit from the Icy Vortex, you can tell. Their health just dissipates. Alright. At least I think it's from the Icy Vortex. We'll check at the end and see what's doing the damage. Multicast. Multicast. Experience. You could probably justify like getting some of these other ice skills, but I think Blizzard is pretty good at making sure like everyone has slow, you know. Okay, so once we have the other the thing that gives us disarray through slow, then we can have all of our attacks apply disarray. Also, very good. Crit damage, excellent. Crit chance. That. More disarray. Area for Icy Vortex.
Is inevitable.
So now, the disarray and slow combined on units is, if we get those both stacked, they take a ton of damage. Coming up to the last wave here.
I fear not death, honor.
Summon all of our knights. See how fast these guys go down. There we go. Wow. Nice.
Another chapter sealed in blood and fury.
Alright. We'll go do one more boss round here.
Blood will soak this place. None shall be spared.
Okay. There we go. Blizzard and Icy Vortex go down, and things just disappear underneath the snow. Alright, first round.
I see you, Lord of the Void. I will carve my blade into your sins.
Oh,
Hold on.
got me. There we go. Built up to slow and disarray and
Their soul has turned to stone.
did a lot of damage.
Gladly take.
Alright, 17 levels here. Oof. Speed, that will be useful. Okay. Multi-cast. Potency. Critical strikes now can apply disarray. Excellent. Multi-cast. Damage increase. Ooh. Multi-cast of Frost Strike. Area of Blizzard. Critical strikes can apply slow. That's an upgrade for that. All attacks apply disarray. Damage. Don't want Leviathan. Multicast. Multicast. Okay.
Victory is inevitable.
Gathering souls here for the knights.
I fear not death. Honor is my shield against damnation.
Alright, and then I'm going to grab the knights. Oh, got hit. Oh man, I got hit again. Not fast enough at this point. Yeah, see, speed is critical for this guy. You almost, when you run through enemies like that,
Minerals hold power, and power
it starts to get pretty close. There we go.
in death you serve my cause. Your soulstone is mine.
Ooh. Alright. Damage. We can go for some defense, if we see it. Disarray. Ooh, speed, movement speed, love that. Thermia. Multi-cast. Damage area. Not seeing any great
Just what I needed.
block or armor upgrades.
Take this count.
One thing you should consider doing is lowering the VFX so I can see the enemy abilities better. Very nice. Oh my goodness. He died, but then his chakram came back and got me. Alright, there you go. The Devastating Death Knight build. So, Ice Vortex is definitely doing the most damage there. That makes sense. So, 475 million from that. Shouldn't have any other passive damage here. Yeah. And so, Ice Vortex definitely doing a lot of work, along with Blizzard, and even the Dragonflight, the artifact ability. So there you go. Interesting way to use the Devastating Rune, the Devastating Blow Rune. So, hope you enjoyed, and if you made it this far, hope you like and subscribe to the video, and I will see you in the next one.